So welcome to the second to last session of today's program, which will focus on tomographic imaging and reproduction. And it will be a bit shorter. We'll have two speakers this time. And as always, please keep your questions for the panel discussion at the end. And the first speaker, we have Laura Murgatroyd, who will talk about reproducible tomographic image processing with CIL. Thanks.
Trying to get the mouse to work, which isn't happening. Anyone else have this problem? Can you help me, please? Is it a touch screen as well or not? Like it's not working.
I'm not sure.
Oh, which instantly worked for you. So it's the other folder, so session 4. Yeah. Thank you very much. It doesn't seem to be working. Okay. Awesome. So I'm Laura Murgatroyd. I work in the tomography team in the scientific computing department at SCFC. And my talk is on reproducible tomographic image reconstruction with the core imaging library. I'll be taking you through an introduction to tomography, followed by introducing all of these acronyms, CCPI, CCP CineB, and CIL. I'll draw some case studies from winners of the CoSeC award and also discuss the outcomes of the CIL user meeting that we held last month at RAL. So to begin with, what is tomography? Computed tomography, or CT, is a non-destructive imaging technique for studying the inside of samples. It's available in over 200 universities, industrial labs, and large facilities, including some at RAL and beyond. And you may be familiar with a CT scan in a hospital where the source and detector rotate around a patient. But in the case where we're imaging an object, so for instance, this silly example where we want to image a chocolate egg to make sure that we buy the one with the best toy inside, we would instead rotate our egg and keep our source and detector static. And as we're rotating our egg, what we'll be doing is measuring the X-rays that have been transmitted through it. And this gives us our projections that we see in the first image that's rotating here. We're seeing all of our projections. And then we need to run some pre-processing on these projections. And the process of going from our projections to slices through our volume is called reconstruction. And these slices make up a 3D representation of our sample that we can do further analysis on. And hopefully you can see that we're able to see the toy that's inside our egg. And as well as this, we can even see like air bubbles in the chocolate around it. So what is CCPI to begin with? CCPI is the collaborative computational project in tomographic imaging, and it aims to support the UK tomography community. This is with software that's driven by user requirements, including CIL that I'll be discussing more about. We're also developing a graphical user interface for CIL and provide a regularization toolkit and also software for digital volume correlation, which is an analysis technique for after reconstruction of your data. CCPI provides training courses, a user support network, and also we're working on the development of processing pipelines for facilities, such as those pictured here. I've just talked about X-rays so far, but tomography is also applicable to other imaging modalities, such as neutron imaging. So that's why you'll see ISIS, neutron, and muon source pictured here as well. Our tomography team in SCD also supports another CCP called CCP SynerB, and this is focused on synergistic reconstruction for biomedical imaging. And this includes other imaging modalities such as SPECT, PET, and MRI. And the main software package resulting from this CCP is SURF, the Synergistic Image Reconstruction Framework. And this is for multimodal imaging with PET and MRI. An advantage of the fact that we're working with both of these CCPs in our team means that we're able to make it so that the core software package from CCPI SIL and the package for CCP SynerB SURF are able to be compatible with each other. So the core imaging library is CCPI's main software output, and it's a Python library for pre-processing, reconstruction, and visualization of tomography data. It has a particular emphasis on challenging data, and by challenging, I mean, for example, this could be data that's particularly noisy. It could be data where you have a non-standard setup for your scan. So in this example, a tilted axis of rotation. And SIL is also aiming to support new and upcoming technologies such as multi-channel CT. SIL is designed with CT experimentalists in mind to try and make it as simple as possible to configure a reproducible standard processing pipeline. In just these 5 lines of code, we're able to read in data from our lab-based CT source, pre-process it, display the geometry that's been read in from our file and make sure that it's as we expect. So that's this visualization at the top right. And then we can run our reconstruction. And reconstruction is typically done with an analytical algorithm called filtered back projection. And we see it here as FBP in our recon line of code. And in SIL, this is accelerated with either the Tigra toolbox or Astra toolboxes that we have plugins for. Then the final line of code is just showing our reconstructed result. So in SIL, we've optimized standard algorithms for large data. And as time goes on, we're dealing with larger and larger data sets, which is becoming more of a challenge. But for the challenging cases that I mentioned, we're unable to use this standard analytical algorithm. And instead, SIL provides state-of-the-art iterative algorithms for these cases. SIL provides a plug-and-play framework, which has the flexibility to construct different iterative algorithms, because we need different algorithms to solve different kinds of problems. It has a near maths interface that makes it easy for image processing specialists to use SIL to develop new algorithms and assess them against existing ones. So we try to make SIL as easy to use as possible. And that's something that we're still working on. But how do we make it accessible? SIL is open source with the Apache 2 license, and it's available on GitHub, where we have extensive unit tests and continuous integration for running these and building the software. We have a documentation website, but also provide more interactive documentation in our SIL demos GitHub, which has a collection of Jupyter notebooks. And these take you through examples of everything from loading different types of data set, so from different types of industrial scanner and synchrotron sources, all the way up to developing your own iterative algorithms in SIL. In our training courses that we run, so we run training either standalone, alongside conferences, and for specific research groups if they request them. We make use of these SIL demos and we run them on the SDFC Cloud Jupyter Hub platform. And it's also the case where we're able to provide users with access to this platform for a short time if they want to try out the demos. We have further documentation in publications on SIL that go through specific case studies and have reproducible code examples as well. We're building up a SIL online user community, and we have a Discord server for SIL where currently we have 160 users. And this is a great place where users can ask different questions. We have lots of different channels for different topics. And it means that these questions are visible to all of the SIL developers, but also the rest of the SIL community. And we love it when SIL users answer each other's questions. We hold weekly drop-in calls on our server where users can come and ask questions over voice call, which is often easier than over text. And we encourage users to attend our fortnightly developer meetings, especially if they want to contribute to our software. So now I'll take you through a few case studies of how people make use of SIL in their research. And as it's the CoSeC conference, I thought I would draw these examples from previous CoSeC award winners. The CoSeC award provides a platform for early careers researchers to demonstrate their work and how they've been supported by a CCP. And every year that the award has been running, a researcher supported by CCPI has either come runner-up or won first place, showing our dedication for our support. So in 2021, the winner was Ryan Waugh, and this was for his work on hyperspectral X-ray CT. This imaging modality provides additional information on the energy of the X-rays measured on the detector. So for each pixel, the measured X-ray photons are divided into up to 200 bins according to their energy. And this means that we're able to obtain a 3D reconstruction for each of these energy channels. And we're able to identify the elemental composition of our samples because different elements have a unique energy-dependent X-ray absorption profile. However, this provides additional challenges. Because our data is split into all of these bins, we have limited statistics per energy channel, and this means that we have a poor signal-to-noise ratio. And Ryan worked with the SIL developers on constructing an iterative algorithm for being able to reconstruct these data sets. So we see an example here of a lizard head that's been stained with iodine to improve the contrast. And we can see on the left is the reconstruction with our analytical FBP method. And on the right, we have a clearer, less noisy reconstruction with this novel algorithm. The graph is showing the X-ray absorption profile for just one pixel in the region of the lizard's jaw muscle. And what we're seeing here is that we see less noise across the energy domain as well. So I'm not sure how clear it is for you, but the orange line is with our iterative algorithm and the blue is the analytical method. And the iterative algorithm is making use of the fact that we have got structural similarities of our data set across all of the energy channels. This year's award winner was Ewan Mitchell, and he worked on producing digital twins of industrial CT scanners. So he's working on the first fully open source, non-destructive testing workflow and has developed an application called WebCT, which is browser-based and provides the ability to simulate X-rays and reconstruct these simulated data sets by making use of SIL. It also makes use of a software called GBXR for these simulations. And the impact of this is really important because it means that people can learn how to use X-ray scanners without having to have physical access to them. So it's saving time needed on these machines. And again, another time saver is that you're able to optimize parameters for an experiment in advance of having either beam time or scanner time. So Iwan gave a great talk at our user meeting event that we ran last month. But first I'll talk about an event we ran back in March. We had a hackathon event. And one of the outcomes of this event was our SIL user showcase repository. So this is a repository that's public on GitHub. And we have 9 different notebooks at the moment where different users are demonstrating how they make use of SIL in their research, and it provides reproducible code run on open source data sets. And we're really hoping to grow this repository as we move forwards and get contributions from different users from more different fields. So the next event that we ran, the next SIL event that we ran was the SIL user meeting. And we can see a picture of all the participants here. And I've tried to put also the logos of institutions where they were visiting from. Along the front row, other than Barbara, the rest of us are some of the members of the SIL developer team. And we're mostly made up of staff in the tomography team in SCD, which is led by Eduardo, who's third from the left in the front row. But we also have on the developer team, Jakob, who works at the Denmark Technical University, and also Vagelis, who works at Finden. And we're funded by not only CCPI, but also the Ada Lovelace Centre. And we also have funding from some facilities that we work with at RAL, including EPAC and ISIS. So at this event, we trained 18 different users. On our first day, we ran a SIL training course. And then on the second day, we heard presentations from different users about how they make use of SIL. And these users ranged from different stages of their career, from PhD students up to professors, and in different scientific fields as well. We also ran a town hall meeting where we gathered feedback from our users, and also a mini hackathon where we aimed to solve problems they were having with their data sets. At the town hall, we asked a number of questions about what our users would like to see from our community in the future. In terms of events, we're going to be running more advanced workshops, which have a deeper dive into specific areas such as iterative reconstruction. When we asked them about barriers to using SIL, something that came up was our documentation. So we're looking at expanding that further with more examples, and also some quick demonstration videos is something that they said would be really helpful. We really want to encourage more people to contribute to SIL, because this means that the code that they're working on can be shared with the rest of the community and also maintained going into the future. And to try and encourage this, we're going to be working on developing a clear and friendly contributor guide. And this, when I say contributions, this could be anything from reporting a bug so that we know it exists, because if they don't tell us, we might never realize, all the way up to adding a new feature in the code. So we're really looking forward to expanding our community further, and gaining more contributions. So I've introduced tomography as well as CCPI, CCP CineB, and SIL, discussed just a couple of case studies from the CoSeC award winners, and also some outcomes of our SIL user meeting. So thank you very much for listening. And time to hand over to the next speaker.
Thanks, Laura.